If you have an ability to make someone's day a little bit brighter, you can. But these feedback loops all come and they become this like virtuous cycle that I think fuels the rest of your life. And so I think that's why even subconsciously when I came across your profile
Mhm.
to be a guest, I felt it's something that I've been doing and something that I've seen growing up from the people, from the family in my life that has really informed a lot of how I want to show up in the world.
That is terrific. Is it at all helpful to, so given what you said, does the recognition that we're always in a societal role and a situational role in addition to a self role, does that help you? Like, is that meaningful in some way?
Knowing that how we show up and that
It's
we
not
are
just a self.
involved and that we're yeah I think so I think the for me what I think the missing bit is that there's this kind of narcissistic self-importance that I think
Right,
is permeating parts of the world right now, and I
right,
think that's important, but I think it's also misleading because that's not so much showing up for yourself.
right.
I think that's how you want people to view you aside for how you view yourself.
Right. It's the performative role. It's not authentic, and it will leave people feeling hollow, and it will leave a lack of meaning. And what it means is that, let's say like for the parent and friend and leader that we want to be, that version of ourselves is inconsistent
Right.
with the kind of individualized self-care role, because we are not separate. Okay, there's a metaphor that I really like. Take a spoon and dip your spoon into the ocean, and now you have a spoonful of ocean. Is that spoonful of ocean different and separate from the ocean? It is the ocean. Now it might be kind of on your spoon, right? Just like you aren't named Marcy Axelrod. You didn't grow up in my home. You seem like you're a separate person, but just like that spoonful of water is the full extent of the ocean, right? It's been through all the history of the ocean, and it had, it may have more or less, versions of algae at the moment, but it's in the flow. That's the relationship that we are with each other.
Well, there's even a lot of studies to say people that live together, you're exposed to people that have very negative patterns or very negative people, things like that, really seep into who we are. And
Right.
and I think and I've seen people that have been in marriage and relationships with people and have gotten divorced, and it's taken them the way the conversations I've had with them is that like it's like you need to be on emotional dialysis for a couple of years after those
Right.
experiences, and it's never any one person's fault. Sometimes it's just a dynamic, or maybe they went through something traumatic, and like I'm not here to blame anybody, but sometimes being in those negative situations for so long, I think it takes so long to get that sludge
Right.
of negativity, of
Right.
toxicity out. And then I think once we can finally rid ourselves of it, I think we need to start anew and start showing up for people in a different way. But it's really hard. I think the first is like the concept of saying like, okay, well, what do I need now, and how do I feel? And I think we can act from there.
Yes, we can choose our behavior at every moment. What I recommend to people is I say, look, choose the most important either part of your day, relationships, whatever it is that you want to work on. Choose the most important thing. Truly show up for that. For that. Forget the rest of it. You can just show up all day long and bounce along the continuum all day long. But for that, truly show up. And what that means, you got to reset your body. You've got to and envision, how do I want that person to feel in my presence? I have a bunch of other very specific recommendations in the book about how to truly show up for the most important things. You will change. You will change as a human being
Hmm.
when you do that. The people you're with or the activity, whatever it is, will shift. It will show up to you differently, right? Because we show up to the world partially because of how it shows up to us, but the way it shows up to us is based on how we attend.